Hi everyone, this is Carolyn Speaks State of the World on Thursday, July 29, 2021. What is it? Good, better, and different. All three, I'm afraid. Okay. Now, some bad headlines. Israeli forces shoot dead 12-year-old Palestinian boy in the West Bank. In news from the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces have shot dead a 12-year-old Palestinian boy named Mohammed Alami while he sat in the back seat of his father's car at an Israeli checkpoint north of Hebron. Mohammed is the 11th Palestinian child shot and killed by Israeli forces as in the occupied West Bank this year. That's according to the Defensive for Children International, which publicized Mohammed's killing on Wednesday. Earlier today, Israeli forces raided the group's main office, seizing files about Palestinian children in Israeli detention. Meanwhile, an Israeli soldier shot dead a Palestinian plumber on his way home from work in the West Bank town of Beta on Tuesday. Shadi Omar Lati Salim is at least the seventh Palestinian killed recently near Beta, which has been the scene of numerous protests against a proposed Israeli settlement. Isn't that nice? All right, now, what else? Israel launches campaign against Ben & Jerry's, but some U.S. Jewish groups back ice cream maker. Israel has launched what has been described as a maximum pressure campaign against Ben & Jerry's and its parent company, Unilever, after the iconic ice cream brand announced it would halt sales in Israel's settlements in the occupied West Bank. Israel has asked 35 U.S. governors to enforce state laws which make it a crime to support the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions Movement, or BDS. Last week, the head of the New York State Common Retirement Fund wrote to Unilever saying it was examining whether Ben & Jerry's had violated state policy on Israeli boycotts. Meanwhile, Brad Lander, the Democratic nominee for New York City Comptroller, criticized the state's position, saying actions that erase the distinction between Israel and its settlements in occupied territory are effectively endorsing annexation and today's unjust one-state status quo. Okay, a number of Jewish groups, including J Street, the New Israel Fund, and Americans for Peace Now, all of whom oppose BDS, have defended Ben & Jerry's decision and rejected accusations that the company's decision was anti-Semitic. Meanwhile, the founders of Ben & Jerry's, who no longer have operational control of the company, have defended the company's decision, writing in the New York Times. Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield describe themselves as proud Hebrews and supporters of the State of Israel. They write, "We believe this act can and should be seen as advancing the concept of justice and human rights, core tenets of Judaism." Okay, I support Ben & Jerry's. I also support the BDS movement. I do not support Israeli military and settlers attacking and murdering and destroying the property of Palestinians in the West Bank or anywhere, and I do not support Israel's campaign to evict Arab residents of East Jerusalem. So there. Okay. Now, two main headlines. We can't trust the unvaccinated. Dr. Leanna Wen on vaccine mandates and how to stop the Delta variant. Well, everybody should get the vaccine or wear a mask and only go when they have to. And then, with respect to the bipartisan infrastructure deal, Leah Stokes says this is not a climate deal. The deal doesn't go far enough. I agree. What are some other headlines? Senate votes to open debate on $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. I do, that's not going far enough, but it starts. It's a start. The World Trade Organization, WTO, fails to agree on waiving IP rights, that's intellectual property rights, for COVID vaccines. We have to do something. We have to get the world vaccinated. Vaccination mandates expand across the nation. Pandemic aid helped poverty fall by 45%, but gains may be just temporary. Pelosi argues against broad-based student debt cancellation. I agree with that. In Peru, Pedro Castillo, sworn in, vows to be champion of the poor. Israeli forces shoot dead a 12-year-old Palestinian boy in the West Bank. Very bad. And Israel launches campaign against Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but some U.S. Jewish groups back the ice cream maker. In France, Macron, Poland says Polynesians owe debt for French nuclear test. U.S. and Russia hold nuclear talks in Geneva. Whistleblowers say migrant children are being mistreated at Fort Bliss. I believe that is in Texas. Okay, where is it? Yes, it's in El Paso, Texas. It's a place to hold children, undocumented immigrants. Okay. Now, as what else is happening? Acetic acid leak in Texas kills 2 and hospitalizes 30. And what is this? Where in Texas is this? It's a leak from a chemical plant. Texas doesn't have any rules regulating their chemical industry. Okay, voting rights activists begin Selma to Montgomery-style march in Texas. Virginia cop sent back to jail on January 6 charges after ordering 37 guns. Oh yes, he's a real peacemaker. A jailed gymnastics coach spent $10,000 on himself in jail, while just $8 a month to victims. Black Gender Report founder Glenn Ford, 71, has passed away. Thank you for your service, Mr. Ford. The U.S. House Committee hears harrowing testimony from officers who responded to Capitol insurrection, and the Republicans are trying to turn this into it was just a protest. It wasn't a riot. We love the police. Okay, but we know that's not true for them. CDC says vaccinated people should wear masks indoors in high-risk areas amid Delta spread. Tanzania receives 1 million Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccines. It's not enough. And whistleblower Daniel Hale sentenced to 45 months for exposing U.S. drone program. Well, I don't believe the U.S. drone program. I believe in the BDS. We should treat Israel the way we treat South Africa when we had the boycotts. Okay, we know they're not doing good. Now, okay, so that's a lot of news. What else is new today? Well, I'm not sure. I think we kind of covered it summarily. How about a little music? Okay, I'm going to sing Islander Dreams. High in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you, far, far away from the mad rushing crowd. Please carry me with you. Again I would wander where memories enfold me. There on the beautiful island of dreams, high in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you. Okay, that's Island of Dreams, written by Tom Springfield of the Springfields Folk Group and his sister Dusty Springfield, the International Singing Star. Thank you for tuning in this evening of Thursday, July 29, 2021, for another meeting of Carolyn Speaks the Day of the World. Hope you're back with us again tomorrow. In the meantime, stay safe, take care of yourself and others, wear a mask, practice social distancing, and when the vaccine is available for you and it's safe for you to take it, I would take it. Thank you very much, and remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Thank you. Good night. Stay safe.